Hey there, Internet. I'm Troy to the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And together, we're IMPERIUS REX.
Should I be doing a voice?
I don't know.
So we're on part 2 of Miller Time.
That's right.
I just see that camera's just right at
right at
the chest. But yeah, Sin City.
Sin City.
What else is Frank Miller known for, other than being a lunatic these days? But Sin City.
Yeah. So, crack open a few brewskis, put on your best damn fine coat.
That's right.
Because we got a tale to tell.
Alright, welcome back. Last episode, we stripped down to our Spartan skivvies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something for the ladies.
Yes, quite.
Even though I think 99.9% of our audience is male.
So you're saying there's at least one lady out there that was
percentage of
up.
one. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. But, so we decided we'd throw in some eye candy for the guys as well. And it's been, like, I don't know, 10 episodes since I dressed like a girl. So I figured,
It's due time.
why not? You know, it was going to come up one of these days. We might as well do it for Sin City. Something appropriate. So, Sin City, Troy.
Yeah.
I can just imagine them. Unsubscribe. Or subscribe. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't focus on the negative. Another dark horse.
Yep.
Frank Miller's bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
7 trade series.
Yep.
And this kicked off in, 1991, I think.
Like way back there.
Yeah, so that was the first book, The Hard Goodbye, and it ran for 13 parts, and it was part of the Dark Horse Presents, which was a thing. It still is a thing.
Is
It's
it?
kind of like anthology type of stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, and then the last book, Hell and Back, was published in 2000. So Sin City stretched for, 9 years?
But he was doing other things in between all that too.
Yeah.
Like Sin City is like known. It's what now that I say that, I'm like, he did do like all the Dark Knight stuff. He's probably known a lot more for than Sin City. But I mean, Sin City is like strictly his baby.
Yeah, definitely. There was also 2 film adaptations.
Yep.
The first one was in 2005, directed by Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller, co-directors.
That's right.
And the follow-up and long-delayed sequel was made 9 years later in 2014. So, what is Sin City, Troy?
Well, Sin City follows a group of mostly unlikable people in the city of Sin.
Right. Basin City.
Yeah, not Las Vegas.
No. No.
Basin City. And it's like almost like a weird amalgam of a lot of things, but it's a city that almost like is its own character. Like New York City.
Exactly.
But it follows all of these deplorable characters through a lot of like misadventures and like a lot of backstabbing and double crossing and beers and broads and
Black and white.
black and white.
Gritty black and white. Gritty film noir black and white.
Yes.
Or just noir. The film comes later.
It's very noir.
Yes.
The most noirist thing I think I've ever laid my eyes on.
Yep. Unapologetically noir.
Yes.
Yes. And it's also unchronological.
Yeah.
Is that the term? It's all out of order.
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I really like that aspect of it too. Like I kind of liked when they would go to like Katie's place.
Oh yeah.
And like it'd be like that's like the central hub of Sin City. Anybody that is anybody goes there.
Yeah.
And you'll revisit the same scene like a bunch of times.
Oh yeah, from all the different
But then they'll branch off and go otherwhere.
Yeah.
I like that.
So each book follows a different character, always a guy.
Mm-hmm.
and their lives are usually turned upside down as they must either protect or avenge some sort of like damsel in distress at the hands of some horrible antagonist, usually the Rourke family or a member of. Another staple, the heroes seldom win in Sin City, but they usually get some sort of like vengeance, or they get even, or they just stick it to them just enough that they can keep on going.
Yeah, fucker.
Yep. You get the chair, but man, you went out with a bang. So there's also copious amounts of sex, violence, and mayhem throughout, and all, as we said, in glorious black and white. Right. So let's start at the beginning here, Troy.
You bet.
Hard Goodbye.
Yes.
So Frank Miller described this as Conan in a trench coat.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yep. That's it. All right, on to the next one. So give a quick synopsis.
So this is the Marv story here. And if you've seen the first Sin City movie, it's pretty much anything with Marv in there. That's this book right here.
Yep.
And I was actually surprised because going into Sin City, this is my first time reading the whole thing through, I was almost expecting it to be like the movies where they would jump back and forth between characters.
Oh, yeah.
I completely didn't even think that they would be like character-centric per book. I really like Marv. He's like...
He's a heart and soul of Sin City.
If you think of Sin City,
you get Marv.
It's Marv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So he's out on a quest of revenge because a woman he loves, Goldie, was killed after they had a wild night together. And his quest takes him all over Sin City, all the back alleys, everything, and he pretty much narrows it down that the highest up, the most prestigious family in Sin City is behind her murder. And there's all kinds of shady shit that goes along with it. And then it ends in probably the least expected way, where our hero, he gets his revenge, and then he gets the electric chair. He's killed.
Yeah. There's like a follow-up to like... Usually like the hero's quest would end with him just like beating down his enemy. And then there's like a P.S.
Epilogue. He dies too.
Also, this guy gets the chair.
Yep.
But while he's getting the chair, oh my god, it's so good. In the movie, they did it great too.
They did. Yep.
Where they fry him, and he's, first of all, he's just like, they're trying to read him his rights and all that kind of, or his last rights, and...
Hurry up, I ain't got all day.
So they're like, alright, give him the chair. Boom, they flip the switch, he gets buzzed, and they're like, well, we're done here, and then he spits out blood, he's like, that all you got, you pussy.
Yeah, you pansies.
And then they fry him again, and then it's the end. I was like, that is perfect.
Yep.
I love that.
But you bring up the movie. We talked about 300 being influential, you know, in pop culture. I would say Sin City is right there with it, and
I would say even more so.
Sin City was first. That was 2005.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this was just a magical cinematic experience.
Yeah.
Like before then, I don't think we've ever seen an adaptation of something captured so literally as it is on page.
Yeah. It is almost panel for panel, word balloon for word balloon. Like it was nuts.
To the extent, and this is kind of a detriment, but maybe it's my own fault, I've seen the movie numerous times, and when I read the book, it was almost a slog to get through at times because I knew like every line of dialogue inside and out from the movie. And I had to put like Mickey Rourke out of my head because I just kept hearing him as Marv.
Yeah.
But after the first chapter or so, you just get into it and you appreciate it for what the comic is.
Yeah.
In this comic, the first one, we'll get to the other ones, but the first one, The Hard Goodbye, is phenomenal.
Yeah. Really good.
Miller at the top of his game, I would say.
Oh, yeah. The artwork in Sin City, just on the whole thing, is really cool because like it's like 2 or 3 panels max a page.
Yeah.
Sometimes even complete blackness.
Oh yeah.
Like
with maybe a speck of white.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that, and it
gives it room to breathe.
It does, and it's like you'll breeze right through it. So like if you're one of those lucky ones that bought the big damn Sin City,
the phone book edition,
like bus they call a book.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, it is huge, but you'll probably fly right through it because I could sit down and read a trade in a sitting because it's only a few things per page.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And you can also see why Robert Rodriguez, the director, didn't have like from what I heard, he didn't really have storyboards or really a script to the movie. He just handed him the book.
Right.
And you watch it, and you're like, it is panel for panel.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's all you need. The movie, or the book itself, is essentially a movie. Like, it is so dramatic and cinematic in how it's laid out there.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. And like you said, how it goes, you know, sometimes you might just get a panel per page.
Yeah.
But you realize, like, okay, this is... You take it all in. It paints the big picture. You get the scope of everything.
Yeah.
You take a beat and then you move on.
Yeah.
Like, I love the pacing of these books.
Yeah, me too.
I like it so much more than you cramming like 20 panels on a page.
Like Dark Knight or whatever.
Which which we'll get to that one of these days.
But there, and this is also Miller at the top of his art game, I think. Like, I don't think his art has ever looked any better than the first few trades of Sin City.
No, I would almost liken it to Mignola's Hellboy.
Yeah,
where the first Hellboy, Seed of Destruction, is like hyper detailed for Mignola anyway.
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, he just kind of whittles it down to the barest essentials, and that's very much what Sin City does.
Yeah.
Mignola, I'll forgive. I don't know if it works for Frank.
I don't think it works as well either. But there's some compositions in This Hard Goodbye, like of just Marv walking down a hallway, and then you see the perspective of like a brick wall.
Yeah.
And every brick is drawn out, and it's just the stark black and white, and I'm like, it looks awesome. I would love to have that as like a poster or something like that. Yeah. Great.
It's good. I'm sorry. I'm adjusting. I'm fidgety anyway, and now I'm refrained from...
Do we need to zoom in?
So we were talking about the movie, and unlike most instances of this, where the movie is a pale comparison of the book, I would say they are right on the same level in this case.
Yeah.
Like, they are exactly equal. The book and the movie, with the exception of, like, sound effects and music, are the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, even Mickey Rourke as Marv, such good casting that, like, you almost don't even give it the time of day. It's just like, yeah, that's Marv.
Yeah, of course.
It's not even Mickey. It's not even an actor. It's just Marv.
Yeah. The only thing I would knock the movies for, I guess, because they use such spot-on dialogue from the book, it reads a lot better than it sounds sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that's about the only thing I have to say about
I would agree
the differences there.
I would say the major difference, at least in the first book, was I felt like the movie, and maybe this was because of like ratings restrictions, I felt like the violence in the movie was very softened. It was still like panel for panel what happened, but it just felt like more comical rather than like hard-hitting gritty.
Right.
Like, if I read the books first, which I did, I remember seeing the trailer in high school and then buying all the books, reading them, and I was like, whew, that shit's hardcore. And then seeing the movie, and I was a little let down at, like, how kind of goofy some of the violence was. When, like, Marv is dragging the guy in the car, and his feet are, like, flipping around.
Yeah.
And, like, just, you know, someone gets shot and they go flying 20 feet. Like, the way I read it was a lot more, like, ooh, you know, that packs a punch.
Yeah.
It's not like cartoony Looney Tunes physics.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
But in terms of cinematography, though, like, this is just spot on. Like, I can't picture a better translation of work to screen.
Right.
You know, some of these scenes in the movie are just beautiful. You know, like the one where Bruce Willis is stumbling on the tree, and you've got, like, the stark, snowy landscape there. And the hitman and the woman on the balcony embracing in the rain. Yeah. Beautiful. Like, they could be hung in a museum.
So my last thought about Marv, before we get into some Dwight stuff, was that there's a scene in the book, in the first trade, where Marv visits his mother, which kind of changes my perspective on Marv in general. And I guess they had it in the director's cut of the movie, which you told me. Yeah. Which I guess I've never known about, but it makes him more or less, well, less of Conan in a trench coat and more like
human,
violent Lenny from Mice and Men.
Yeah. You kind of get that because he's so medicated through this, and he's like, he gets confused sometimes.
And I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. Like, I don't know if he has to take care of his mom, or she seems to be
pretty self-sufficient.
Blind, but okay.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing I was like, oh, I guess I never remembered that. But it kind of changes the Marv character just a little bit there.
So that's going to take us into the second and third book. Let's just do them back to back.
Yeah,
because,
sure.
like I said, I feel like they're one big story. And
Yeah.
this is Dwight.
Yeah.
A Dame to Kill For, followed up by The Big Fat Kill.
Yes. If there's any character that I think that Frank Miller is saying
This is
that
me.
he's him, it's Dwight.
Yeah.
Because he is all over this series.
Just like the guy that you would want to be in
Yeah,
this book. He's
right.
like the cool, good-looking guy.
That's got a hard edge, but you don't know what.
Right.
He's kind of crazy, but you never know when he's going to go off.
That is one of my main complaints with this, because I have no idea what Dwight is about at any given time.
No.
Maybe
never.
it's on purpose. I don't know. But let's give it a synopsis here. What's this? Let's start it off.
Okay.
Dwight is a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's taking lewd pictures of people cheating on their wives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, he has a past. He doesn't want to let the monster out.
Right.
Because something
Right.
has happened. We never know.
No.
But he also has a history with this girl, Ava.
Mm-hmm.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
And she calls him up out of the blue, needs his help,
Uh-huh.
and he gets wrapped into a whole world of intrigue
Right.
and deception
Yeah.
and murder
Yeah.
and violence and sex. Sin City. Cornucopia. Frank Miller.
Dwight has a history, it seems like, with every
Of being
character.
an idiot.
Well, yeah, that. But, like, anytime he shows up and he, like, meets a new character, you think, like, they're gonna have, like, this new, like, welcoming interaction, and it's like, Dwight, it's good to see you again! It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
All the girls of Old Town know Dwight,
Yeah.
which we don't know why.
No.
But, yeah, so that's part one. He gets kind of caught in the life of this Dame to Kill For.
Yeah.
And just gets the shit piled on him.
Right.
I don't know if any character has undergone the abuse of Dwight in this book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. And then we'll sum up part 3 real quick too here, where Dwight has undergone plastic surgery
Uh-huh.
because of what happens in book 2.
Yeah.
And he's with his girlfriend at that point, Shelley, a bartender.
Uh-huh.
Or a bar waitress?
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
A bar waitress.
Yeah.
He saves her from an abusive boyfriend, who then, him and his posse travel to Old Town,
Yeah.
make some mistakes and get butchered by the women of Old Town,
Yeah.
which are the hookers with
Yeah.
a heart of gold, who will kill you without a second glance.
Yeah.
And they find out that the guy they killed is a cop, which
Yep.
is going to bring down the heat on Old Town.
Yep.
So he has to dispose of the body.
Right.
They all get wrapped up in this big web of intrigue.
Yeah.
Probably not the right word.
And I like how they make mention that it was the hero cop or whatever, and I'm like,
He's a piece
what
of
a
shit.
scumbag.
Yes.
If he's the hero cop in this city,
If
then-
Benicio del Toro is playing you in a movie,
You are not-
You're the villain.
Exactly. It.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the characters pop up from the previous one. Manute, the giant African security guard.
Yeah.
And eventually, it's kind of like Dwight coming back to his roots, I guess. The women of Old Town that he loves,
Yep.
Gail.
Yep.
And just unleashing holy revenge
Yeah.
on anyone who stands in their way.
Yeah.
So that's Dwight's arc in this, basically. Kind of this down on his luck, violent loser who gets his shit together and then becomes kind of like this go-to guy for the women of Old Town.
Yeah. Yeah. I by the third trade of this, and when they do like the second half of the Dwight story, I was like, okay, I'm glad Dwight had his run. I'm kind of getting sick of Dwight.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to, we'll get to the next, but it's not the last time you see Dwight.
No, you
and
get
I'm
more
like,
Dwight.
oh!
Frank!
Is there anybody else?
This one is more just like clean white and black.
Right.
And so much that I had a really hard time like getting a good picture of what Dwight looks like in this.
Yeah, I never got
like
a good...
he's just this bald everyman, I guess.
Yeah.
And Marv,
Until he gets
I
his
could
sweet bangs.
Yeah, yeah. His
His
90s haircut. Yep. I rocked that for a while in the 90s. It's a good cut. But yeah, Marv, I could draw from memory, and Dwight is just like a very vague bald guy through most of this.
Yeah.
Very smooth bald guy. I just didn't identify with him as much.
I really couldn't get in. I liked his story, but I just couldn't get into Dwight as much as, like, I could really love Marv.
I know. I can't get a read on him. Like, what's he about? Sometimes, and as the books go on, you get, like, another flash from another perspective, and you see Dwight, like, just drunk at the bar, whining, and he seems like a loser. Is he, like, is he a monster? Is he a hero? Is he, like, a romantic? Is he a drunk? What is he? I guess he's everything.
He's multifaceted.
I guess, but, like, I don't know. Yeah! Sparta! Not as physically imposing. This way, in high heels. What is with him in swastikas?
Okay,
in everything he does.
My exact note that I brought up for this book, because I'm like, why is there swastika? Everything's in this. It makes me very uneasy.
And they're usually bad guys, except Miho has them as throwing stars. And I know, like, the swastika has
other
meanings before the Nazis took it over, but, like, that's the big one. You think swastika, you're not thinking those other things. You get Nazi.
Yeah.
So you throw that on stuff, and it's not a good connotation.
No, it's not. Especially, like, even when I saw it with Miho's throwing stars, at first, I think when I saw it in theaters, I was like, does he think that's what throwing stars look like? And I kind of just took it off. And, like, after I read more Frank Miller stuff, you see him
all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's people with them tattooed on their head. Granted, they're bad guys.
Yep.
But then in Dark Knight, they got the nipple pasties. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, his infatuation with that shape is unsettling.
Has no one told him what they mean?
Somebody should. Somebody show him this excerpt of this video and be like, we're not on board with this.
It's Hitler stuff.
It's really
not cool.
No.
But yeah, those are all over the place. The women, for example, in this, I think I told you earlier, like, the female representation in Sin City is they're either a stripper, a hooker, or a waitress. Which, like...
Or a bitch.
Oh, yeah. And that's what it is. I get it. But at the same time, like, this was in the 90s. I feel like if this was put out today, it would have some issues. Like, people would have some complaints about that.
I'm surprised it didn't have as many complaints in the 90s, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the 90s were extreme.
I guess. They're all badasses, you know, like they're tough as nails, broads, and they like what they're doing, but it's like, you're still like fucking guys for money, you know? Like, I guess, but, you know.
It's the world-old profession.
Maybe go back to school. I don't know. So, as we get into the adaptations of this one, as we mentioned earlier, the first Sin City features the third book, Big Fat Kill, while the second film, made 9 years later, features the preceding story.
Yeah.
Weird choice to do it that way.
Odd. Very odd.
Especially with recasting the roles in there, too. Because I'm assuming, like, Clive Owen, who plays him in the first film, plays Dwight, busy, or whatever.
I don't know.
So they recast it with Josh Brolin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay because he gets plastic surgery, so you're like, okay, he does look different. But then, God, I was crossing my fingers that when he gets out of plastic surgery, it's Clive Owen, and they just kept it a really good secret.
Right.
It's not.
No.
It's just bad makeup to look like Clive Owen.
And not even very much.
No.
It was just pretty
Just
much
the
Josh
wig
Brolin in a
with
shitty
bangs.
90s wig.
Yeah. Yep. It's been 9 years between these movies. The average viewer forgot that this is even the same character. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the biggest problem was by the time the sequel came around, no one cared anymore.
Right.
Like, the sequel's fine. I would
say
say
it's any worse.
No,
than
it
the
is,
first
like,
one.
on par with the first. It's just, like, too late, you know?
Right.
So that pretty much wraps up Dwight's arcs.
Yeah.
Until the next ones.
Right. Yeah.
So we're going to take a pause, put a pin in it,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to come back for part 2 of our Sin City Miller Time extravaganza.
Yeah. Give you a little reprieve.
Yeah. Before we dive into the Yellow Bastard and
the rest.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll see you next time. If you have so far enjoyed Sin City, let us know down below what your favorite parts of the book are, what favorite parts of the movies. And we'll be back in a couple weeks with part 2.
That's right.
Featuring the rest of his old yarns.
Oh man, those yarns.
Until the next time, I've been Toward the Max Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And we'll see you for more Sin City and Miller Time.
Just hanging.
Is it 2 pages? Oh no, it's more pages.
It's more than 2 pages.
Christ,
It's 2 episodes, Troy.
you did a lot. I have notes on this too, but not 2 pages.
And then as soon as we start, she'll call. Look good? Everything good?
It looks
good.
good.
Sorry.
Hello?